All right. Coach, as always, thank you. Appreciate the time. Just obviously, we got the opener, so excited for that. But for you guys, just 1,000 foot view right now of what you've seen through obviously the last month or so.
Yeah, so exciting to be heading into the first weekend. Always a really fun time. And, you feel like, wow, we've practiced a lot, practiced and practiced and practiced, and we're ready to play against an opponent. So, just really excited about our team. I think our returning players have come back in really good shape. And, we've got good competition in our lineup. I think our freshman class is really strong, some international experience in the class, and they've come in and I think made practices really competitive, and I expect them to have a big impact on the ice and our returning players too. It's we're in a really good spot, and just excited to play someone else that's not ourselves.
Anything particular, especially through the last couple practices, really getting ready for the first weekend that you guys have honed in on, something you've wanted to work on a little bit through the off season?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is just driving possession, wanting to have the puck more. I think from year one to year two for us, we really took a step in terms of commanding respect and being a tough opponent to play against and really defending hard. And now the next step is really having the puck more, being on offense, scoring more goals, creating more opportunities. So I think we've seen, again, whether it's from returning players, incoming players, just as a group, as a team, I think we are in a much better place offensively, and hope to see that in the games, obviously.
Awesome. And doing a quick 180, I know we just talked about the offense a little bit, but between the pipes, both goaltenders who played combined for playing all your minutes last year are back this year. How nice is it to have them back, first of all, and a senior to kind of guide the younger in Ainsley?
Yeah, they're a great duo, very different goalies, but both work extremely hard. I think our goalies are some of our hardest working players. Like you said, Emily's wearing a C this year. She's a leader for us. Ainsley is an extremely hard worker like Emily. They both got a ton of experience last year. Ainsley has more size. She's very athletic in there. MED is a really smart goalie. They bring different things, but they're both really solid. And we leaned on them heavily last year. And then Izzy Why Not comes in for us this year as a first year goalie out of the OWHA in Ontario, which is historically a great league, and I think makes the transition to college hockey a little bit easier for a lot of players that come from that league. So, she's going to compete in there too. And we know that, on any given night, any of those guys can play well for us in the net.
And sticking on the defensive side, Kaylee, obviously, one of the point leaders last year for your team, but off the ice, obviously Jenna was a leader for this group. How have you seen Kaylee grow into that role?
Yeah, she's a leader too. And she's like you said, I mean, it's really fun to bring back especially someone on the D end who had a lot of points last year and helped our offense. But she's a character, she likes to keep it light. She's a funny kid. And she just has those leadership qualities I think we see in practice right now. She's helping our younger D. She has a first year D partner right now, and is just helping in all areas, whether it's 5-on-5 in our D zone, on the power play, penalty kill. She's not afraid to step in there and teach and lead, and we'll keep relying on her for that.
Your first year class from last year, obviously a lot of immediate impact players. What have you seen from them moving on to now their sophomore year? And, anyone really step up, you feel like taking on a big role as a sophomore here?
Yeah, honestly, that whole group it's really fun. That's a really fun time as a coach to see that transition from the first year to sophomore year. And that group, I think they really hit it hard in the weight room. Ainsley obviously on the back end got a ton of minutes last year. I think she's come in kind of understand. She's always been a really hard worker, played pucks out, been really competitive in practice. But I think having that experience, you get a different confidence from them coming back. And then Kira on the back end. I mean, she got a lot last year too, so just taking that and turning it into confidence and just knowing, there's so much more coming in as a sophomore than you did as a first year player. But up front, Emily Hammond's playing really well for us right now, and Annie Dingus and Scout, and Ella Lucia obviously had a huge role for us last year too. All those guys are, they're used to playing big minutes. They had good experience from a year ago, and now it's just, building on that. And yeah, been really impressed with that group.
And just a couple more from me before I pass it along. I got to ask, Bella and Alex, obviously coming from the same town in Minnesota, were those two a package deal? The recruiting process with getting them on board this year.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, Bella was I believe our first commitment when I got the job 2 years ago, so back in 2023. And then Alex, we call her AP, we didn't she was later. Her process, everybody's process is a little bit different. I think she was in 2025. It was earlier this year that we solidified that. So not a package deal, but know each other really well. They're kind of a dynamic duo. They're always together and yeah, just have helped our D group right away. They're smart kids, great players, great skaters, and really excited to see how they do together.
Awesome. And in that class as well, obviously coming in, Morgan, really impressive resume. What have you seen from her, and what can you expect in the first year?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we have Morgan and Emmy Beati both have international experience, and anytime you can bring that in, first year players have a transition to make no matter what, but if they've played at the World Championships and for Team USA, that tends to help. And so Morgan, she's really good on draws. She's great skater. She's got speed and quickness that I think will really help us through the middle. Great shot. She creates offense. That's, when we want to drive possession, that's something that she does really well. She wants the puck on her stick, provides good puck control, and yeah, just really excited to see how that whole group does. It's always exciting to put the jersey on for the first time, so looking forward to that for them.
And last one from me. Obviously, Ivy getting started later than other teams. How important is it for your group to get off to a good start?
Yeah, I always view it as an advantage. I don't know if everyone views it that way, but we certainly do. We have more time to get on the same page, speak the same language as a team out on the ice, and be as tough to play against as we can right away. We don't necessarily have to build the plane while we're flying it as much as maybe some other teams do. I remember that feeling when you're at a school that plays maybe the second, third week of the school year. So we get a chance to get settled, do some team building, spend a lot of time together, practice way too much, but it's a favorite part of a coach's day. So I always love this time of year. And yeah, by now, we should have our feet under us and be, our fitness level too. I think we should come in fresh, ready to go. And, the Ivy League added a 30th game. So I think that's pretty exciting for us this year to go from 29 to 30, and we're ready for it.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. I'm going to pass it to Jess for a couple.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, great to see you again.
Likewise.
I know that with Cammie's sister playing over at the World Rugby over the summer, you guys had her, I think it was her sister, come in to lead that rugby clinic. I'm just curious, kind of, if you can share some like backstory on how that all materialized, and then a little bit on who might be the best rugby player on the team, and if you were bowling everybody over when they had the clinic.
It was really fun. Coaches were involved. Yeah, we had a blast. And Jack Rydell, our director of operations, and then Cami Cronish, who's one of our assistant coaches, our goalie coach in particular, they came up with all of it. We read some articles on the All Blacks, and then the women's team in New Zealand too, their rugby team, the Ferns or the Black Ferns. Yeah, we learned a lot about their culture, and then it was a lot of passing drills really, and so it's kind of interesting. The spatial recognition piece is very similar in hockey. Once you're playing other sports, like the skills are transferable. So did a lot of passing drills, a lot of agility stuff, and just really fun for us to do something together outside of the rink where you can kind of make connections to our sport, whether it is on those skills or even just from the cultural side, the toughness, the accountability in their organization. So learned a lot. It was fun. And yeah, a lot of our D, honestly, a lot of our D who sort of, headman plays from the back end were very similar out on the field, kind of just things they saw, passing lanes they used. It definitely transferred for our D group to kind of make breakout passes, essentially. I don't know what the term is in rugby, but you kind of see similar roles out there, which is fun.
Was it like a split of the team in any certain way, or was it just like having some fun with drills?
Yeah, mostly having fun with drills, just whatever color you were in kind of uh broke up the group. So it's sort of random like that. But yeah, a couple of the coaches that were teaching us are world championship level rugby players. So I feel like it's not very often you get to meet somebody in another sport at that level. So just good for us to do something new out of our comfort zone. And obviously the athleticism translates. So fun to get out there and do it together.
Yeah, some great pictures too. So thanks
Yeah.
for that insight there. With Emily's growth too, obviously it's such a great story, just going from lower on the depth chart to coming up now, the Beanpot hero. Now she's a captain. I'm just curious, kind of year over year, if you can kind of walk us through her growth there. And I know you mentioned this a little bit ago, but just some of the things that she's doing now in that leadership role that has allowed her to be a captain, and how that growth along the way has seen some different things from her over the years.
Yeah, I mean, she's extremely fit. She always comes in great shape. She's one of our leaders in a lot of different categories, whether it's the broad jump type of categories, her quickness, agility, 5'10", 5. She's yeah, she comes in fit, and I think she's always ready. She works extremely hard, and she really has earned everything that's come her way. And she kind of had a unique situation where during COVID and not playing, and I think her senior year of high school was part of that too, where they didn't get a ton of games, and so she went a few years without really getting game time. So I know last year, when she started playing more, I mean, she was just excited. She would say that like, I'm just excited to be playing hockey games, and you always know, like, extremely reliable, can count on her. She'll be ready to go, and as a captain, I think she's very direct in her communication. We love that about her. And her teammates are always going to know what she expects, and it's never going to be something that she doesn't expect from herself. So, she's been a great captain for us. All three of our captains have done a great job, and just yeah, really excited for her on the trajectory of her career. She's always going to compete, and we know we'll get that from her every single day.
And lastly, from me with Bella, I know Mike had just asked about her, but something different from her background growing up in the UAE for about 10 years. I'm just curious if she's shared any of that part of her life with you, and maybe the differences of hockey over there, and if that is even where she started kind of her passion for the game.
Yeah, really interesting story. She lived in Dubai until she was 10 and came back to the States. Her parents are both in the military. They had really started a group of all of these military families and their kids to play hockey and travel around Europe to play against other European teams. And it is pretty incredible. She was just telling us the other day, I think they were the Sandstorm, or the Sandstorms was their name. So we said, Youth Hockey Day, we got to see that jersey. She said she doesn't think it fits anymore, but it's kind of cool, the logo she was telling us about. But she's actually the only one who had ever played rugby before too. So when they asked us if anyone had played on a team, she actually had from those days. But yeah, just a really unique experience. Her dad is a hockey player, her mom is an athlete. So it's been fun to hear those stories, and just yeah, you don't hear about that too often, and really neat that they were kind of the ones to organize it. And she does know a little bit of Arabic, so just a unique background, and ended up making her way to Minnesota, and was a really good high school hockey player there the last several years.
Of course, thanks for sharing those backstories. Looking forward to seeing you on Friday.
Of course. Thank you.
All right, Coach. I guess I'll hop in here. Appreciate you taking the time. A couple of housekeeping things. Injury wise, you guys mostly healthy going into the start of the season?
Yeah, really close. I think, if the next couple of days go well, probably just one player out. But working back to health, and feel really good about having a fully healthy lineup pretty soon.
Do you have a goaltender plan for the weekend, or is it going to be based on how game one goes?
Yeah, it's really an open competition in there. Our goalies know that. Obviously, two of them have a lot of experience from last year. Izzy's come in and played really well. So I think, any of them could go in and play a great game for us. And we're still kind of figuring that out as the week goes on. And like you said, how based on how Friday would go too, we'll just kind of see how the next few days look. And we know, I really feel like, we have really good options in there. Not a lot of teams can say they have three goalies who can, do a great job. So excited about that for us and the depth we have in there.
You talked a bunch about Emily. I wanted to ask about your two other captains and their leadership styles and how they, I don't know how the captain go works. If you guys pick him, if the players pick him, or just what you see leadership wise from the other two captains besides your goaltender there, Emily.
Yeah, so the players vote on the captains. That group has, they really complement each other well. Zoe and Kate are, really bubbly, energetic types. You know, like they're always gonna have a conversation and want to chat about something. And they've just all three of them have a really strong work ethic. They came back ready to go. They've had, various different roles in our lineup, and they're just the thing that they all have in common, and that they have, really kind of bounce each other well on throughout the fall. But the thing that really is the guiding light, I think, for all three of them is they want what's best for our program. They want to move this program forward. They want to be a big part of this rebuild, and they're doing a great job of it. I think we have great leadership.
Wanted to ask about Gwen, who had a big year a couple years ago. Last year, off to a good start, then got hurt. How big is her return to your lineup for your offensive attack?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, she's a great hockey player. She has a knack for scoring that you don't find everywhere. I mean, some kids just know how to put the puck in the net, and she's got a great shot. She's a great tipper in front. Just a huge offensive player for us 2 years ago, and really excited to have her back soon and have her hopefully kind of come back where she left off. Because even first couple games last year, I think she had 5 or 6 points in as many games, and yeah, she had a hot stick. So hope it comes back. And she's just, she's worked so hard to get back, and it's tough to be out for that long. So I expect her to be really hungry when she's back in the lineup.
We've talked about a bunch of your individual players. Curious in your mind, if I say under the radar, if any players in your head, come up, if I ask you, who are some players going under the radar that you can envision having really big, successful seasons for your team?
Yeah, it's a good question. Honestly, I I think you could almost put anybody on that list, just because, when you haven't played your first game yet, I think any first year player could be there. They don't have any games under their belt yet. So it's really like, let's just see. Everybody's got to make that transition. But yeah, I think all of our returning players have a chip on their shoulder. They really do, and they're playing like that right now. And I think I think we'll get some really good years out of returning players who that's our job, right? Develop them while they're here. They obviously, it's on them to put the work in, and I feel like that's what our group has done. So I think our whole team might surprise this year.
And just two more for me before I turn things over. Stylistically, when you envision your team playing its best, what does that look like?
Yeah, well, I always say, like, I think we have some of the fastest ice in the ECAC, if not the fastest. That's kind of how Bright Landry has always been and continues to be. So we certainly recruit to that, and we're looking to build on that over time. So we want to play fast. And pace is foot speed. It's also puck speed and moving the puck quickly. So those are things we're always working on, but want to be fast and physical everywhere. So, I think from a physicality perspective, this team has become much more physical over the last 2 years. And again, just trending in that direction, continuing to work on where can we add more physicality? Where can you interfere legally to help create space for somebody? Where can you set a pick legally to create space for somebody? Obviously, we don't want to be marching to the box all day long, but we're going to play a physical brand. So fast and physical is what we, continue to work on, continue to recruit into the program, continue to try to build on as a team. And the biggest thing, like anytime we play, I want people to watch and say, like, that team's relentless. Whether they're up, whether they're down, like, they don't go away. They come at you, they come at you, they come at you. And it's the whole team, they play together. But that's the biggest thing. I want people to watch us, and I think our team feels this way too. And they've done a great job of this in practice so far. It's like, we don't go away, and we're never going away. And you know that about us from playing us, and what that feels like. It should be relentless.
Awesome. Yeah, and last one for me. I mean, it's no secret that you guys play a really, really difficult schedule. You got two non-conference games this weekend, then you hop in with 8 consecutive ECAC conference games right off the jump. So for you guys, regardless of results as you approach this first non-conference weekend, regardless of wins or losses, what would make it a successful weekend for you guys coming out of it? What do you think would make it a success regardless of a win or a loss in the first two games?
Hmm. Well, we want to win. So that's an interesting question. That's goal number one. And honestly, in terms of our progression and our build here, that's something we've talked more and more about. And I think that's important. Like if you want to win, then don't be afraid to say it. So we've tried to be fearless about that here. And every game we go into, we expect to win. We want to win. We're going to do everything we can to win. So I think in general, success when you take a really big step back, like success to us will always be competitive success, so winning games, and also having a team where, the culture is strong. Like everybody understands their role. Everyone's a valued member of our team. That's not going to be the same for everybody, but everybody has a role. And I think, we have a small team, so everybody's feeling that right now. And just looking at this weekend, like I think probably, just going to answer your question in a more direct way, I think, for us, the biggest steps we want to take are offensively. We want to score more goals. So scoring a lot of goals would be great. And if we're not scoring goals, then are we creating chances? You want to be creating offense. That's probably the defense will come. You got to teach that through the beginning of the year. So you expect to make mistakes. You expect to teach through the first several games. But I think from an offensive perspective, like how good can we be right away? How many chances can we be creating and goals can we be scoring? And that would be success if we can put more pucks away than we have in the last couple of years. We want to be scoring, 3 goals a game was really what we're after. So can we be 2, 3 goals a game this first weekend?
Awesome. Really appreciate it. I'll toss it to Pete if you have any questions want to hop in.
Good.
Pete, you are on mute. There you go.
Yeah, sorry about that. No, I might have missed the first question, Coach, about having to play two games right off the bat within 20 hours. What do you prepare for? You have a Division Two, Division Three opponent, and then UNH on the road. How do you prepare for that weekend?
Yeah, it is a little bit of an interesting schedule, like you said, but I think for the most part, it's 6-2. We're usually 6-3. Obviously unique because we're going on the road Saturday, but really, what I love about college athletics is like it's the adults are always the coaches are always the ones who talk about home away, what's the turnaround like, and the players like they just want to play, they're ready to go. So that's always fun, and this group is really going to be raring to go this first weekend, but. The biggest things, I think it's obviously a short trip for us. Our morning on Saturday morning is going to be pretty similar to what it would be if we were back at home. So we'll come down here, we'll do video in the morning, have a good meal, and then instead of, going back to the dorms before they come back here for the afternoon, we'll get on the bus. We're gonna give ourselves a lot of time and get there and kind of activate and do a walk and just, get if bus legs were a thing, we'll make sure we get them out of us early and then they'll go into their normal warm up. So kind of a unique situation, but we're just excited to play 2 games and should be really fun.
Yeah, that's all I have. You answered everything else.
Awesome. Thank you.